Good morning. It is 6:01 a.m. on Tuesday, August 28th, 2018. I'm Christiana Ellis and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. I'm recording earlier than my typical time recently because I've decided to start setting my alarm earlier in order to try to be better at being on time, on schedule. And, day one with the new time has not got me feeling ready to get up. But that's how these things go. It'll take time to shift back. I've been doing a little better recently of getting enough sleep. Um, so this is going to challenge that a little bit, I think, because I'll have to adjust my bedtime again to compensate. But well, we'll see. We'll see. But in the meantime, here I am, awake and thrilled about it. Yeah. Last night I watched the next movie in the AFI Top 100 after Apocalypse Now, which is Double Indemnity, a 1944 movie starring Barbara Stanwyck and Fred MacMurray. And it's good. That's one of the things about the watching the list this way is that especially as you get towards the top of the list, the movies are all pretty good, generally. I mean, obviously, the movies are all important in one way or another, even if it might not be your personal style. Like, for example, when I talked about The Godfather a little bit, The Godfather Part 2 is the one that I watched, but of course the original Godfather is way up high on the list. And it's just not my favorite. The story doesn't engage me that much. It's a well-made movie for sure. But it's not always easy to put your finger on what it is that makes one story really click with you and another not. For example, just the fact that relatively rapid succession on the list, we watched Godfather Part 2 and then Apocalypse Now, which are both the same director. And so why is one of them one of my favorite movies and the other one is like, eh? Well, it's a very different story, but what is it that's different that makes that difference for me? I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, Double Indemnity, which is its own movie, and I think fits kind of into the noir tradition. It's not a private eye movie, but it certainly has elements like, the character motivations being kind of base and femme fatale character, and it's all yeah, it's pretty good. I for some reason I guess I was suddenly hesitating to talk about the plot for some reason, which I don't know why. But the Fred MacMurray, it's interesting watching him because it's a very different role than the one that I sort of primarily associated him with in my head, which is that when I was a kid on Nick at Night, there was a show called My Three Sons, which is a sitcom with Fred MacMurray as the lovable, goofy old dad. And his role in this movie is not like that. He plays an insurance salesman who's pretty slick. He's a salesman, and he is the type who is pretty quick to come on to a potential customer's wife at the slightest opportunity. That kind of guy. And for that matter, once he realizes that this particular woman is maybe interested in signing her husband up for insurance that he doesn't know about, for purposes of maybe collecting on it after he is murdered. That sort of plan, right? Well, so Fred McMurray's character is the kind of guy who is like, well, okay, you're hot, Mrs. Dietrichson, and I like that. But also, as I work in the insurance industry, I have occasionally thought about what would be the perfect way to get away with something like this, and I think I have a plan. And so they go into it together to try to accomplish this. And so, like many noir movies, it is an example of, uh, you know, the plot circles around the idea like the protagonist character, the goal that they have set for themselves to try to accomplish is essentially to successfully get away with murder. So it does put us. It's in that that there's a nice tension there where like, are you rooting for them to get away with it? Well, not really, but it's complicated. And so, why, for example, did I love that movie and not like the Godfather movies, where my complaint was that the characters aren't sympathetic? I think maybe part of it is that in Double Indemnity, there are also good guy characters that are in opposition to the main characters for sure, but you can root for them, and there can even be a tension between kind of wanting to root for the protagonist but not really wanting them to get away with it, or the satisfaction of having someone do something bad but then know they're going to get caught, versus no, everybody in this movie is complicit in one way or another. I don't know. It's hard. Film criticism is hard, you guys. Anyway, I've got to get ready for work, even though I'm so much earlier than usual. So I'll talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes.